Alright, in this video I'm going to talk about what cube to use when learning to solve the Rubik's Cube using the videos that I have made here. The thing is, not every cube will work. Not every cube works equally well, let's say it that way. Part of the reason is some of the sequences, some of the algorithms that we've learned, and some of the moves require that you turn a layer with a single finger. If they don't require it, let's just say at least it's much easier to do it that way. And as it turns out, it's not just easier to perform the move that way, it's easier to learn the move that way and remember it. Imagine learning something like the Pledge of Allegiance, and you only got to say one word every 30 seconds. Right? And you wait 30 seconds, pledge. It would be much more difficult to memorize. Strings of things like that are more easily memorized when they come one part after the next quickly. And the same sort of thing is true when learning these algorithms for the Rubik's Cube. If you have to turn it like this in order to make it turn, you may get halfway through the sequence and wait a minute. Was it this way or was it that way? I don't remember. Whereas if you like this move that we learned, step number 8, where you go like this. Okay? That move is much more easily learned when you can do part of it with this hand and part of it with this finger. So here I have, just for comparison, a traditional Rubik's Cube, a standard, see, it's the Rubik's brand Rubik's Cube, and you can see that it's the same size, and the stickers are more or less the same color. They're slightly different in brightness. The Speedcube stickers are not quite as bright, but other than that, they look very much the same. But the traditional Rubik's Cube is much more difficult to turn. Like, to turn this layer and then that layer is much more difficult. Okay, so this would not be a traditional Rubik's Cube that you purchase at the toy section in Target or Kmart or whatever. Would not be a good cube for learning how to do the solutions that I've taught in these videos. There's some other reasons why this cube is better, aside from the fact that it's smoother and easier to turn. That is, each of the center pieces in this cube has a shock absorber. It's flexible, so the whole cube overall is flexible. If you take a regular Rubik's Cube and you have one of the layers turned part way like this, and then you want to try to turn one of the other layers, it's impossible. It binds up and it's not possible. In fact, even a very small turn like this, if it's off just a little bit, you can't turn the next layer. Whereas with this cube, something that's off just a little bit like that makes no difference at all. It turns anyway. But you can actually have it off as much as nearly 45 degrees. Let's say somewhere in this area. It turns perfectly well. Okay, and it just moves the layer back into place. Okay, I've seen. See, that was almost 45 degrees. So you'd never, when I'm solving it, I never have to turn a layer when the other layer is turned to full 45 or even close to 45 degrees. When I'm solving it, it may be off by as much as that, and that's the same as nothing. You don't even feel that. What it does is it just orients that layer for you. Okay, that's called corner cutting. So these cubes are very good at corner cutting, which means that you can do things where you do layers in one layer and then the adjacent layer in quick succession, or the 90-degree layer in quick succession. There's no way you could do that with a traditional Rubik's Cube. Okay, so I strongly recommend one of these Speedcubes. In just a minute we're going to talk about exactly what it is, what it's called, where to get it, and other important things about it. Okay, so this is the cube I recommend. It's called the Daiyan 5 Zhanshi, and I'm not 100% sure how this is pronounced. I know it's Chinese, but it's a lot of people call it the Zhanchi. Anyway, I know that's not how it's pronounced. It's probably something more like Zhanchi. Not that that matters. Anyway, the thing is, you can get this cube, you can buy this cube on Amazon.com and have it sent straight to your house. So that's my recommendation. When you buy it, you need to be careful, because there are different toy distributors, and some of them sell what's called the do-it-yourself kit, the DIY kit. And that is the cube completely disassembled with no stickers or anything. And each of these pieces is actually made of several pieces that are kind of fused together, and I think in the do-it-yourself kit all of those are separate. So it can take like 2 hours to assemble your cube if you get a do-it-yourself kit. Now those are the cheapest, they're like $5. The cube itself, if you buy it assembled and ready to go, is no more expensive than a regular Rubik's Cube. You know, if you were to buy this regular Rubik's Cube at the toy section of your Kmart, it's going to cost you about $10. And these cubes can be bought for anywhere between $10 and $15 on Amazon.com. So you just find a toy distributor from Amazon. I mean, you get it, it's still shipped through Amazon, but you just find one of the suppliers that sells through Amazon that sells it for around $10 to $12, and it's going to cost you the same as a regular Rubik's Cube. So that's my recommendation. I recommend the Dayan Zhanchi from, it's the Dayan 5 from Amazon.com. The company that makes it has a Dayan 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It turns out that the 5th one is the one most competitors use. It's the Dayan 6 is actually a little, it has some things that guys don't like. This is definitely better than the Dayan 4, and most people think it's better than the newest model, which is the Dayan 6. So this is the one I recommend. In just a second we're going to talk about the different versions of it, the different models of it that they have, and I'll also talk about how to set the tension on it. If you don't get the tension just right, it will explode. It can explode in your hands while you're playing with it, and then you have to put it back together. So if you own one of these, you will have to take it apart and put it back together at some point. So I'm going to talk about how to do that and basic care and maintenance, because this is not your typical Rubik's Cube from the store. It's going to take a little bit, you have to understand it a little bit better to make it work for you. Okay, so let's talk about the different models or versions of the Dayan 5. These are the 3 Dayan 5s that they make. Mine, which I showed you, is virtually identical to the regular standard traditional Rubik's Cube, except that the stickers are not quite as bright. Okay. This is their stickerless cube. This is Angie's cube, and you can see that the plastic itself is what's colored. There are no stickers on this. This is the most well-liked Rubik's Cube on the market for people who do this sort of thing, who are what they call speed cubers, or people who have this hobby. The engineering of these 2 cubes is exactly the same. In other words, this piece, this corner piece here on this black one, is actually 3 separate pieces of plastic stuck together. It's made from the same mold, the same dies as this piece. It's just 3 black pieces instead of 3 pieces of different colors. But these are identical in every way, except that this one is black with stickers and this one is colored with no stickers. Okay? But what's interesting is there's something about this shiny colored plastic that's just glossy smooth. Listen to this. You can barely hear anything, whereas this one clicks a lot more, and I've smoothed this up a bunch. Straight out of the box, this one is really clicky and makes noises and stuff. It's still great, but this one is just smoother, glossy smooth, and people love this one. For Rubik's Cube competitions, you can't use these. You have to use one like this or one like this. And that I'm not 100% sure why. I've been told that it's because when you look down on a piece like this, you can see what the 2 colors are without turning the cube at all. And so it gives people an unfair advantage because they can observe colors on various sides of the cube without turning it as much to look at it. And I guess when the winning times are a half a second difference from one another, any little advantage is considered too much, and so they insist that you use a solid cube with stickers on it when you do competitions. If you could use this in competitions, this is the one everyone would use. Anyway, they also make this one, which is an all-white cube with light colored stickers. Now in this case, this is Maggie's cube. In this case, these are aftermarket stickers. The stickers that come on this, that come with this white cube, are not quite this fluorescent. They're not quite this bright. But Maggie wanted fluorescent stickers on hers, and so these are aftermarket stickers. There's a company called CubeSmith. Like a blacksmith? It's a CubeSmith. CubeSmith.com. And they sell, I don't know, a couple dozen different aftermarket stickers. If you remember Katie's sticker from that other video, Katie's stickers are a chrome and they're all metallic and shiny. Hers are from the same company, CubeSmith.com, and they're it's just a different. Anyway, they sell tons of different aftermarket stickers that you can get for Rubik's cubes. Anyway, so these are the 3 different cubes sold that are the Dion 5 model. My preference is still the appearance of the old-fashioned one. This one is really fun to play with, but I actually think this one looks... I think the old original appearance of the Rubik's Cube is still the one that's the coolest, and so that's mine. Mine looks just like the original Rubik's Cube.